Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Living Ageless and Bold. I always love when other guests refer guests to me. And that's what happened with Tina Soloman, who's my guest today. And I can't remember who referred her, but she said, you have to have her on. So Tina is a speaker. She's a recording artist. She's a Reiki master, which I'm always fascinated with. Incredible work that she's done. She's volunteered for almost 20 years in the prison system, in a women's prison, creating a choir for them. Diane Sawyer covered it on 2020. There's a documentary being made about it now that we're going to talk about. She has been through a lot of difficulty in her life, losing her son, which, we're going to talk about because we have to get up and move on. And she's truly an incredible woman, and she's making life happen at 55. And I'm just thrilled to have her here to learn more about you, Tina. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Christina. That's a beautiful intro, and I'm incredibly grateful to be with you. Yeah.
Oh, so obviously you're a singer.
Yes.
And you just before we came on, I'm getting over this this crud that I've had, and you called it my sexy smoker singing voice.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So let's talk about how your career started.
Well, my father was in show business, and he just decided to leave all of that and go into the church. So I was born to a father who had played with people like Chuck Berry and different various large artists. And as he made his transition away from show business, I was born into this maybe a little bit of a different and more conservative setting than he had started when he and my mother met. And so I started singing at a really young age and just had a real affinity for it. I've got some blue-eyed soul in me. And it was really a waymaker. I think music is a universal language. It's a way for us to connect. It's the soundtrack of our lives. No matter what you listen to, it is the soundtrack of your life. And so I just started singing and never stopped. I moved to Nashville when I was, I guess about 19. And by the time I was 20, I was having the opportunity to sing in studios on different recording projects. And it was a blast for me and a real expansive season in my life. So music, I'm still singing to this day.
Wow. Okay. I got to go back up a little bit. I have lots of questions. What did your father do? You said he played with Chuck Berry.
He was a piano player, cool. and he was wonderfully talented. He's since passed about 25 years ago, but what a gift he carried. And the beauty of my dad is he really taught me what it was to connect with people, that was more important than anything else, and connecting through song, speaking, whatever it was. And I learned a lot about his professionalism when I was around Dad. He just took it really seriously. And then he went into ministry and he became a music minister, and we would still travel every summer. I was traveling with him. My vacations consisted of singing, singing for our supper, if you will. And so literally. It was a natural affinity. Yeah. When I moved to Nashville, it was a really cool divine connect that put me in studios. And then as those years went on and I got a lot of no's, we all learn through the no's, right? We learn when people say, no, you can't. And so I had some rejections when I was seeking a record deal, and it actually propelled my life in a really unique way to put me into serving within a prison system as a choir director and I've had the honor of literally serving thousands of women in that capacity. And music was the tool, the waymaker. I believe deeply that we all arrive here with gifts. Those are the abilities we have a natural affinity for. It's deeply our responsibility to shape them. So it's kind of like we come with an engine, and the model of the car constantly changes that we get put into, that rolls us forward to the next generation, where we're extracted out and put into something else. And so a career that I thought would lead to Grammys and fame and that kind of thing that I was chasing, really ended up putting me inside a quiet and very hidden, behind the bars, with maximum security, beautiful souls that had trouble in their lives and needed to hear a message of redemption and love. Yeah.
But you had to get there. So it couldn't have been easy. You said, so you're in recording studios. Who did you record with? Anybody we know?
Winona was my most famous background vocalist within
Wow.
regular
Yeah.
society music. I did a lot with a lot of Christian artists. And, I think one of the things I began to manifest and desire to be a songwriter. And so I just kept putting it out every day. I would drive and I would say, I really want to write. I really want to create. And this was about 10 years ago. And I had a friend of mine who's a film producer, and he called and he said, Tina, the strangest thing happened. I woke up this morning and I think you're supposed to write a song for my next film. And I thought, this man is utterly insane. I've never written a song. I wrote a song in high school, big deal. And he said, it's you. And so, believe it or not, I crafted this song about World War II, about Augusta Shiwi and her beautiful service to the troops during the Battle of the Bulge. We went on beautifully to win 2 Emmys for that film, which was extremely humbling and beautiful. And that
Congratulations.
was in my 40s, which I had no songwriting experience. And here I am with a gentleman who had just finished working with Elton John. And it's laughable the way life can put you into these interesting places if you're willing. I mean, all of us have to be willing to say, all right, I'm going to show up. Now, and I didn't feel equipped. I felt ill prepared. It was just, and I can't even play piano, so I barely was poking at the keys. But that opportunity came, and the bravery, I tried to talk him out of it. But the bravery comes when we actually think, all right, I'm going to try. And try often pays off to do, and then do pays off to we accomplish it. And it's something that I look back and I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity. It grew me as a person because it made me confront my fear. And growth always happens when we confront our fear.
And Tina, that is such a great lesson for everybody listening and watching. And my regular followers know I mentor students at Virginia Tech. And when they hear my story of what I've done in my 50s, they're like, wait, I'm not washed up at 21. I'm like, no, you're not washed up at 21. But the difference is at 40, you were like, I don't think I should do this. I don't think I'm capable of doing this, but you did it anyway.
I
Where
did.
in your 20s, you might not be as confident, but as we get older, we're like, I can do this. And if it doesn't work out, there's something else, like you said. But when you were talking about you wanted to be a recording star, you were going to win Grammys, and that had to have been a difficult setback. Was it one no? Was it many no's?
It was a lot of them. And what's fascinating is fast forward until I was probably 50, and I'm inside the prison and I'm mentoring a small group of women. Normally I'm in front of about 70 to 400 women, but I had a really small mentoring group that I actually attuned to Reiki, believe it or not. But we were talking together, and one girl, we would do a prayer together. And she said, I am so thankful Tina never had that opportunity because she would never be here.
Oh.
And see, sometimes the no that hurts. And yes, I could never think of any other path for myself, but I'm going to sing, 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 sing. And when that changed and I was sitting in that moment, I wept that night. I cried all the way to my car. I cried in my car because I thought, sometimes we don't realize that when the no comes, it's going to lead us to the best yes we could ever find. And it transformed my life serving inside that prison and traveling to prisons all over the country as a speaker. Really taught me that we do not need to be defined by our worst day, though we do have to pay a price for it. But we don't have to be defined by it. And that within every soul, there is a diamond. And I looked for that. The diamond that I was looking for, I would always look for the diamond in people. And some of the toughest souls that would be put in front of me, love broke down the barrier. And I take that lesson outside in the regular world with every person I meet, whether it's a server or my physician, my friends. Love is a language we can speak in the way we treat others, in the way we care for ourselves. So those women taught me more about life than any other experience I've ever had. And I carry it forward every day because truly, love can lead us, and it can arm us and equip us to do life.
So let's talk about how you got involved with the prison system. It's not like that's, I'm guessing you didn't see a want ad and
No,
applied for it. No.
no, I did not. Can we all agree, everyone who's listening, that there are moments in our lives that are so serendipitous that I call it divine activity, that you don't know how you got there, but there you are, and you think, oh, wow, this is amazing. I just happened to be downtown Nashville looking at a wonderful community involvement resource center that would empower underprivileged women with computers and teach them skills so they could get a better job placement. Now, I was a singer for the most part and a mom, and there was nothing I could teach them on the computers because I didn't know myself. When I figured that out, I was leaving, got on the elevator, met two women who were getting out of prison who had just gotten out. They were living in a halfway house. And one curious question asked by me led me upstairs into their living quarters, and they gave me a tour, and we sat and talked for over an hour. And in that moment, I knew one other volunteer who worked at that prison in Nashville. And I called her, and within 2 weeks, I was standing inside the walls with a job to do. Their choir director had left. The only thing I'd ever directed as far as a choir was 5-year-olds. And that's the equivalent of wrangling cats, which is truly just like it is leading a choir of women who are incarcerated. But I walked into there. I looked at all these women with their arms crossed, and they're looking at me thinking, what the hell do you have to teach us? And I realized I had nothing to teach them. I had everything to learn. And it was love at the first note. I sang just one song, and they gathered around me. There were about 25 women at that point, putting their hands on my shirt and hugging me and crying. And it was love at that point all the way to that very last time that I was as their director in that room. It was amazing and life-changing. And sometimes the curious question leads us down a path we never would have walked.
Wow. Do you remember what you sang, that first song?
Yes, it was called My Redeemer Lives. It's a Nicole C. Mullins tune. And what was amazing is I think, when you have a gift, and my music had made a way for me, what I didn't realize is it would be the key point of making a way for me on death row, where the most hardened girls with the hardest hearts who love was trying to reach and couldn't quite find, the songs disarmed them. Music is a powerful thing. So for all of us, whatever gifts we have, when I was 5 and I was in kindergarten, my mom caught me for, carrying an entire bag of clothes. And she said, "Where are you going with that?" And I was taking clothes to a little girl who wore the same dress for days on end. And I gave her, mom kept one pattern back for me. I gave her all my dresses. There were maybe 10 or 12 in there. And, that I arrived here with that kind of heart. We all arrive with a certain way that we're wired. And throughout my life, I can watch how that's really unfolded in serving others and wanting to empower people so that she didn't feel bullied anymore because she could feel good in what she had on. And as I walked into prison, it was really about how can I empower people who have made the worst decisions, some of them in the world? How can I find the worth just like they found in me? How can I find that for them and give them a reason to get up every morning, even if they had what I call a toe tag sentence where they were never coming home?
So the ones that have come out, do they stay in touch with you? I'm sure you've made such an impact in these women's lives.
They do. And I've never changed my phone number, even though I'm in a different state now. I had to relocate. There's probably a couple thousand girls who have my number. And I still hear from them when they get married and have children. I've also preached funerals, life it is gritty and pretty all at once. It's brutal and beautiful all at once. And so there's been gifts in that are expansive and life-changing. And there's painful parts of it too, because statistics teach us that, the recidivism rate of returning back is quite high. But I just continued to love, I think one life changed is worth our effort.
You are amazing.
Oh,
I feel like it's a good Sunday in church. Like you just, I just filling my heart and my soul. And, wow. So you have had a difficult time in your life. I have a son. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
And is he your only child?
So I have three boys, and my oldest, Corey, he had a very rare antibody in his blood. He got sunburned one day with his best friend, and that ended up ultimately taking his life. That rare antibody from that sunburn just led to many, many illnesses that within a calendar year, I watched my boy pass. And I remember sitting out at the beach when I knew it was coming, and sometimes we get those feelings as moms that those days are going to be cut short, and I knew it. And he and I had a couple really profound conversations about life. About one of the things he said to me is, "Mom, we all want to grow old, get bald, and be with all of our buddies with our antique cars, but we don't always get what we want." And I told him, I said, "Baby, I can't tell you that this is going to be okay. What I can tell you is you'll never be alone in it." And I remember sitting at the beach about 4 weeks before Corey passed, and I just held my hands up and I just said, "Love," which is a word I love to use for God or the universe, whatever your path is. That's such a personal thing. But I just said, "I'm not asking for anything except the grace to hold what's coming." That's all I ask for, because we're all going to die. We're all going to leave this planet. Nobody gets out of that. And my son's path was not my path. I'm still here. So in that moment, I made that decision. And after he passed, I was able to officiate his funeral and then officiate a week later my middle son's wedding. And so within 2 weekends, there was a funeral and a wedding, and we all held together in a way that could only be what love looks like when someone has transitioned onto the life beyond this one, and they come back and infuse you with an empowered love to endure and to be resilient. And he told me, he said, "If you don't make big moves, Mom, I'm going to be really disappointed in you." And so when he passed, it was extremely painful, and sometimes we don't get up from that pain for a while. And I understand that all of us, grief is unique and different for all of us. My path was, how can I live more boldly? How can I play bigger? How can I leave it all on the field? Not that I play sports. He called it sports ball. How can I leave it all on the field before I leave this planet? Like, if I arrive here with certain things and opportunities and passions, I'm doing myself the greatest disservice and the people around me if I don't fulfill and utilize the passions and the gifts. And so it just drove me to love deeper. And every time I feel him going, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mom. That's how you live with fierceness." And he was fierce and beautiful, and he still is. He's just in a different space, and I was so honored to be, it was a time COVID was just ending, and I got to be in that room with him. And I remember when we decided that life support was no longer supporting life, and we made that choice as a family, and everybody in the room just said, "Oh my God, we can't do this." And I said, "Yes, you will. You will walk in that room, and we will put our hands on that boy, and we're going to love him all the way across, because that's what we're here to do." Now, after we can all break, but we will walk in with boldness and power and love. And I told all the nurses, "You're in the presence of so much greatness. You're in the presence of a boy who is so dear and wonderful, and we're all going to hold space together in the highest love." And it was horrible and also so beautiful to have that privilege that so many people during COVID did not have. And I felt it was an honor to be present with him on that first day and on the last.
Wow, I've only experienced that once. We lost my brother-in-law this year, and I walked in the hospital room, and we knew he had brain cancer. We knew this was the end. And my sister and my niece had spent the night with him, and I came in and I brought them breakfast. I'm like, "Oh, we can't eat, Jeremy, not till I kiss you good morning." And I literally kissed him, and he died right then. And I said, it was a blessing, and we had such a great relationship. And for him, and we just laughed the whole day that he left me with the kiss of death. Like, that's what he would do to me, but you're right. It truly was. I told my sister that. I said, "Thank you for letting me be there."
Yes.
It was An
It's
honor.
an honor. Yes, it's an honor. It's a transcendent honor to hold space with someone when they vacate the body that animated them. Yeah, it's life-changing, and I carry those things forward with me. There's coming a day when we all take our last breath. It's what we're doing as we get to that day that matters, that makes a difference. We can change this world with, it doesn't matter what we're doing. It doesn't matter what gifts you carry. Use them. Let them be expansive in you, through you, because it's transformative. It truly is.
Yeah. I had a prior guest, and her entire platform is live your best dash. And that's the dash between the day you were born and the day you pass.
Now, isn't that interesting? Because I'm kind of I listen and hear things that's interesting, because when I got up this morning, my friend wrote a song, The Dash Between the Dates. And he and I talked
Oh,
about it just a couple days ago, a country song.
wow.
And isn't that we want to make that dash matter and
Yeah.
mean something. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Very powerful. So
Yes.
you said you're no longer in the prison system. You move.
Right.
What are you
I
doing
did.
now?
Well, I had a beautiful Reiki practice, as, again, that beautiful activity. When I divorced, I really did need to find something that could sustain my life. And I really was guided to learn about Reiki. And I found it to be the most beautiful thing to help people align their energy centers and really create that beautiful balance. I
We
incorporated that.
I was going to say,
Yes.
will you share a little bit more so people who are listening know? I mean, many people have heard what a Reiki master is, but if you could
Right.
explain a little bit.
Right. Well, if we had been born in Japan or China, in many ways, we would automatically know about chakras. Some people call them chakras. We would already know about those 7 kind of agreed upon energy centers in the body. Well, when you're a Reiki practitioner, you're just using energy that moves through your palms to help align and basically balance out each of those centers, and to create more balance for a person when they get up from the table. My specialty was trauma, mainly because of all my work inside the prison, working with that gritty element and the pain. That really gifted me to be able to sense that in clients that lay it on my table. I was so blessed to have hundreds of clients, and I'm grateful for that time. You just go in and you just spend time to release some of the things that are heavy, to bring in more light, and to create that place of balance. So when they rise from the table, there's it's an expansive feeling, and it really was beautiful. I was able to attune four different women inside the prison, 2 of whom worked with a dog program, so they were doing Reiki on animals, which is a beautiful thing. And so I would go into where death row was housed, and I would just put love in the room, and the officers would look and go, "What on earth are you doing?" And I just said, "I'm working with people's energy." And so those were the things, as I transitioned to really a more maybe open-minded faith blueprint in my soul. I was open to do that, and it was a beautiful experience. When Corey passed, I was still working in my office, and my first client who came in after, when I returned to work, she had just lost her 28-year-old son. And it was a divine moment, and I just said, this is the work of my soul. And I went back and just continued to love and serve people. But then an opportunity came to move to Florida from Tennessee, and I'd been in Tennessee for years and years. And I took it because I could hear Corey's voice in my ear saying, live more boldly, be brave, leave it all on the table. And so I came here I closed a business down that had been wonderful for me. And I just followed what I would call a divine lead, and started singing again professionally, which I think is hysterical, how you reinvent yourself when you're not even looking for it, and you reinvent. So it's been a blast. Yeah.
Where are you in Florida?
I am way down south, Fort Myers, Cape Coral area. Lots of retired, not that, I mean, I'm 55, so hey, I'm in a 55 and up community.
That's
Props to
okay.
us getting older, baby. It's a beautiful thing. But I sing at a lot of communities for their different events, dances. It's a blast. I get out on the dance floor and dance with everybody. I sing a little Tina Turner, a little Cher, and a little everything in between. And I have so much fun. And when I was in the industry in Nashville, there's this, I guess, maybe a little bit of a spirit of competition. You're working so hard. You've got this drive. But here there's ease. If I'm at a restaurant, it's easy. It's joyful, and I'm starting to speak again and work on speaking and started a podcast called Soloman Says, which is going to be a fun adventure. But it is the reinvention of myself that has greatly surprised me. And it's the most fun I have ever had singing in my entire career. Is just doing this.
Now, are you looking at the local prison to see?
I am not, because down the road, I want to return to that, but I'm giving this about 3 years. And then I hope to have some grandbabies, hint, hint to my boys. I hope to have some grandbabies and then I'll move back to the Nashville area. But for right now, this was a fun departure from the heaviness. I spent so many years working in heavy things. So this lightness has been a real relief for my spirit. Sometimes when we do that gut wrenching deep work, we need a little break. And so I've just taken a little break. And I'm laughing and having a ball and dancing and just enjoying life in a way that, well, I didn't expect it, but it's been perfect.
So your middle son, you hope to have grandchildren. He's in
Yes,
Nashville. So you're in Florida,
yes, I am.
living
I'm in
boldly
Florida.
for
Yes,
Corey, and then
yes.
you'll go back.
Yes, and
Um,
my youngest is in the Air Force, and he just moved to just such a difficult deployment from the Middle East. He is now in Sicily. That's really tough, and so I'm going to spend a couple weeks
oh
there with
darn!
him. He had a rough time, and he did some serious things, and now we take a breath, and he's in Sicily, and I look forward to going to Italy next year for my birthday, turning the big, 5-6 in Italy. It's going to be a blast. Yeah.
Well, you are absolutely epitomizing living ageless and bold. I love that you just packed up from what you knew in Nashville, your life, your job, your past, everything. And did you know anyone in Florida, or you just went to live boldly?
No, well, I was living boldly, but I did know a few people because I
Okay.
did grow up in this area after I
Okay.
left Tennessee for a little while. So I knew some friends from high school. I graduated here. So that's been nice. I've had some
Perfect.
reconnections, but it's been great. And, I divorced, at the age of 49. And I kind of jumped and moved into this place of being brave. And every day since has been more and more bravery. And I think it's never too late for us to start doing those things you talk about.
No, you're absolutely right. You are. And that leads me to this documentary. So this is
Yes.
what did I read? 15-time Emmy Award winner is doing this documentary. I think it might be
Right.
good, right?
Yes. And we have probably, I don't know, we've been working on it 11 years.
Holy
Because it's
smokes.
11 years, and that's an average. I think 15 is an average for films from the inception and the idea moving on. And we've had many different roadblocks because it is a prison system. So they've had escape attempts that delayed us for a few years, on and on and on. But he and I spent, I guess we've got maybe 30, 35 hours recorded of beautiful interviews and times of me inside the walls. And we'll just watch to see how it unfolds. We've had so many almost. It's just like with the recording deal for me. It never came. I don't know. We watch, we wait. And I told him, if it's meant to unfold in the world, it will. And I think there's a place of peace. There's some talks, this and that's been going on and off for the years. But we finished our final bit of filming about 3 years ago. And it was an epic day of filming, and I had all access. The Department of Correction was incredibly gracious to me. So we'll see how it all unfolds. It's a waiting. But from my first conversation with the director, and I think at that point he only had 2 Emmys, from our first conversation to now, it's been 11 years of talking about, yes, and working on it. Yeah, you just don't give up. You just keep going, because you don't know when something will spark. And there have been times I've wanted to quit. I thought, oh, why am I even working on, this is going to take forever. But he told me, he said, even if you died today, Tina, it'll still find the light if it's meant to be. And that's exactly the deal. Yeah.
You have to be the most positive, optimistic person I have ever met in my life. I wish you lived near me. I would love to hang out with you.
Oh, that's so kind. I work really well. You know what? I can say this. I work to protect my peace, and I'm sure that's the way it is for you. You can't do what you're doing, invent so many things, talk to so many people, and not have good boundaries around your peace, because it's the only way for you to be in this highest light that you sit in. And so it's the same for me. I think maybe 10 years ago, if you met me, I was far more people pleasing and anxious. But I think life has taught me, preserve your peace and you will have that light that emanates no matter what's going on in the world around you. And I have found that. I've found myself to be tethered to that. I think we can all do that if we do the work to ask ourselves those harder questions and grow.
Well, and anybody listening or watching who has any friends who might be in a little bit of a funk or need some positivity, send them this episode, because I am just, like I said, my soul and my heart are so full after this interview. Wow. So tell me, what is the greatest thing you've accomplished since you turned 50?
I know these are the two questions coming up, so I did think about them. Honestly, I think the greatest thing I've accomplished is being comfortable with who I am. Now that empowered me to move. It empowered me to make big moves and walk through loss and walk through grief and continue to hold that. But to finally love the Tina in the mirror, curvy, all of what I am and what I bring to the table, I think that is the greatest accomplishment. I had my own party when I turned 50. I paid for my own cake. I did all the work, brought all my friends in and celebrated. And my mother thought, well, that's just so terrible that you're having, I said, no, I want to do this for myself because this is an act of self-love. And so for me, greatest thing since I turned 50 is learning to really accept Tina boldly for who she is. And I think, isn't that the highest desire for all of us, to learn to really like ourselves? I enjoy being with me. It's pretty cool.
That's an amazing life lesson for everybody. Wow. And then where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Loving people. My mantra for life is love God, love my creator, love people, and die doing both. And that's exactly what I'll be doing till my last breath. Loving people, empowering them. I want to empower people to learn what it is to be free and to love themselves and to be, maybe live in a limitless mindset, that it's never too late and it's never so far gone. I mean, I've looked in the eyes of women who are literally never going to come home from prison because of what they've done. And I've told them, you still can change the world. You can change the culture in this place, become a teacher, become a leader. And I've watched them do it. And I think no matter where we are in life, we can always be reaching forward to teach someone, reaching behind us to learn. And that is the power. That's the power. So I'll be doing that till the day I leave this planet. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can't think of a better way to end this episode. So Tina Soloman, you truly are amazing. Thank you for sharing your gift with my audience.
Thank you, Christina. Keep up the good work, girl.
Thank you for listening or for watching this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe. And if you like the episode, I hope that you will give us a great review. You can also head over to livingagelessandbold.com and sign up for information, inspiration, and exclusive opportunities for us, women over 55. Thanks for listening. And remember, no matter what you do, keep living ageless and bold.